those two extreme messages are very, very in the media, I feel. So having these chats about marriage is really, I think, quite important. Hello everybody, my name is Ray. Get yourself a cup of tea if you fancy it, with your favourite bevy. And today we've got another Ray Reacts video, which I've done a couple of recently, which has been really fun. I've enjoyed doing it. So today I'm going to react to a video, and the title is Do Non-Christians Care About Marriage? And Lauren went out into the streets and she interviewed people, and I'm just going to respond. I'm just going to react. From, again, a Christian perspective, and just share my thoughts. Hopefully you guys will enjoy. Should we get into it? Should we get straight into it, guys?
Would you guys want to, obviously you don't go to church on a Sunday or anything, but would you want to get married in a church?
No, not really, because obviously they have a really strong faith about like divorce, and they don't believe in divorce. So let's say if, things don't work out, no matter how much you try, they won't really allow it unless there's some type of reason for it, like an actual good reason for it.
If you were to get married, would you want to get married in a church?
No.
Why?
Anyway, I don't have to be married on the church.
Where would you want to get married?
Anywhere, just even in the town or something like that.
If you guys got married, not to each other, because you're brother and sister, and we will just make that really clear, brother and sister, would you want to do that in a church?
We actually have a lot of vicars in our family. So,
That's sweet.
So many vicars in our family. So we think that for me, it would be really important just to kind of in keep with their beliefs and kind of our parents, dad's Catholic and we grew up in the church. So
I just want to be able to be free, like when I'm getting married to someone, because it's just like, I want to get married to you. I don't want anyone else to be saying my words for me. I want to be able to commit myself to that person.
That's beautiful.
So you wouldn't say like the traditional church vows, you'd write your own?
I'd write my own.
I feel like when you're saying vows, you're also saying it to like God, and I'm not marrying God, I'm marrying like the person in front of me, so.
You could do worse than God,
I very well could.
If you were getting married, would you want to do that in a church?
No.
Why is that, and where would you prefer?
Definitely a non-denominational place, probably somewhere. I've travelled quite a lot, so I've seen some, in hotels which have museums attached to them. Like there was one in Guatemala, and it was probably, it had a Christian crypt, but it was absolutely spectacular, the location of it. Or somewhere very random, like a volcano.
Do you care about marriage?
It's funny because I'm going back and forth on this. I don't know. I feel that maybe for family, people that are building family and bringing children into the mix, there's something in it that the united aspect of it for me is attractive. But I suppose just by myself, I don't have any notions of marriage. It would be about me and a potential partner, what we would kind of decide together. So I'm not one of those who've been like, grown up like, this is what my marriage would be like, this is my wedding be.
No. I think that's a beautiful response, because you don't have to get married. You don't have to get married. Let's look at Jesus. Let's look at Paul, the Apostle Paul. There are a lot of single people in the Bible that lived very full lives. You don't have to get married. But I love what she said, that, when it comes to building family, marriage is a beautiful thing. She said there's something attractive about that and the unity. And I love that she said that. I love that she said that there is something that marriage carries that is so beautiful in what it contributes to a community, and when it comes to family as well. And I just really liked what she just said. Yeah, I love that.
I care a lot personally, but my boyfriend doesn't have the same views particularly. But I do think it's just kind of like
hard,
our backgrounds more than anything else. Like my parents have been married for a really, really long time. His parents aren't. So
that's so fair. That is so understandable, because there will be a lot of people, Christians or non-Christian, who have had, who have actually been really hurt by marriage that has broken down in their life, and it's so understandable that can affect how you view marriage. It's really difficult. It must be really, really hard being with someone who really wants to be married but your partner doesn't. That's such a difficult one to unpack together. But if you might be watching this video and you actually feel really scared of getting married because of what your parents went through, or maybe you've been married, or something that's happened in the past. And I just want to say that's such a human reaction to feel when it comes to the potential of marriage again, and definitely don't walk alone with that like pain, or that fear about it, or hesitation, or whatever the right word is. Definitely process that and those fears with people that you trust in your life, that love God and that can pray with you. And because I think that it's sometimes we need to unravel the things that even in our subconscious that we believe about marriage. Even if we say, yeah, no, we definitely want to get married, believe it's a really beautiful thing, but there might be things that we've been through that have us tangled up inside, that's really, really so worth giving some time to process, because that's when healing can come, isn't it? And then it's kind of feeling like a different way about it, and it's kind of feeling hopeful about it again.
When I find the person I want to spend my life with, then marriage.
Some people don't get married anymore, and I think society has changed in terms of what they expect. You could show commitment through other ways. It doesn't just have to be kind of standing at an altar and saying I do.
I think this is very, very common in society. This kind of like, we don't need a piece of paper. You can be committed to someone and not be married. And you can. But the beauty about marriage is you're making a commitment before God. And it's a lifelong commitment. It is a beautiful picture of God's love for his church. God is never, ever, ever going to give up on her. And marriage is a picture of that, because it requires unconditional love. It requires dying to self. It requires sacrifice, which also grows your capacity for love, like not even within your marriage, but within the world. That's the whole point of marriage, isn't it? It's a commitment that you're making to someone. I will unconditionally love you for life. And please, hear me. I know that there are some heartbreaking situations where where people have broken covenants and ended their marriage when the other person might not have wanted to, and all these things. And that's so hard. And God will never, ever, ever leave you. God will never, ever divorce us. If we took marriage away from society, people would really feel it. Like people who would maybe say, oh, you don't have to I don't need to commit to someone for the rest of my life, or I don't really believe in marriage. If we took marriage away from society, I guarantee you they would feel that. They would really feel the weight of that. I actually just thought of my parents, actually. They've been married for years, and they are just solid pillars in their community, and they have, for as long as I can remember, they have opened the house up to everybody and anybody. They've fed them, they have ministered, they have fathered and mothered as a couple, and they have welcomed people in that don't have that like stability or unconditional love in their life. What are your thoughts? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.
What would you say is like the point of marriage?
Nice big celebration.
It's the party.
Yeah, just a big celebration, I guess. It's it's a nice thing. I'm going to wedding to fair soon. No, just a nice celebration of two people saying like, yeah, we're gonna get married. We're gonna spend our lives together. I think that's nice. Again, I don't think everyone needs to do that, but it's more of a celebration.
I definitely think there's a point to it. I think we live a very long time now. Like the value is different, probably.
Again, I just go back to what I said before. She's saying that, but really, I just can't believe that. I actually can't believe, marriage isn't really a thing anymore. I think it's kind of going out of fashion. I just don't think so. I find that really hard to hear. But also, I'm not convinced. That when we really look at how marriage affects society, we really look almost the statistics of how it affects society and how it affects people's lives. I just don't know if we would really think that, if we would think that's going out of fashion.
I think it helps with the practicalities of this life. Got to be real. I don't like to go with the status quo.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not supposed to be man or woman. No, I feel that the two individuals come together, whoever they are, and I think it's very personal. And what I don't like is that we make it a sort of political thing.
What does the idea of marriage mean to you?
Commitment. More than anything else. I think I want loads of kids and
all the kids
and I want them to have like that nuclear family, I think, and it is just that commitment. And my boyfriend works away, so obviously if he works in a different country, things like that, I just think it is that commitment.
Yeah, I think it's just that kind of like stability. Like once you find someone that you want to spend that time with, I think it's kind of that almost an agreement. Yeah, you're that person to me too.
Yeah,
what do you think marriage actually means? Like, why do you think people want to do that?
Those people who married in church, it's like they want to be blessed by, the grace, or I think that's what their main purpose on why marrying on the church.
Interesting.
Do you think that Christians can be a bit obsessed with marriage?
In the UK, not so much, but stuff I watch that comes out of the US. Yeah, a little bit from the state side of things.
Do you feel like Christians can sometimes be a bit obsessed with this idea of marriage?
Is obsessed the right word? It's just a dream, or it's just part of a list of life achievements, I would say.
I'm not sure if obsessed is the word I would use. I just feel that it just seems to be very important, and young, you get married young, and
it's probably because they're not sleeping together or pretending they're not sleeping together.
That's another aspect. Yeah, that's true.
I don't think there's an obsession necessarily.
Do you feel like Christians are...
It's interesting because I feel like if you ask that to people in the church, the answers would be different. So I'm not really surprised that people who don't go to church don't think that Christians can be obsessed with marriage, because I think if you're in the church and you're single, you feel the pressure to get married, even if you're not necessarily too fussed about getting married. You do feel that pressure. I think it can be a little bit high stakes in church sometimes. Shout out to Lauren's book. She wrote a book about this. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that they're like, don't know. It's funny what she said about America as well. Again, of course, the media, wedding videos and all the aesthetics, and the wedding day is like a huge thing, but they're not as much. There's not as much time and attention on marriage or being equipped with what marriage is, and that being out on the media, which I think is just as important. The wedding day is so important. It's so much fun to do videos and to celebrate your wedding day. Absolutely, I'm not saying that at all.
You can't generalise, so I would say no. I mean, some are, some aren't. Again, but I think that's with any faith or even people in general. Like, I don't think that's a religious thing.
Not necessarily, actually. I think that while our family members are, very, very involved in the church, I actually don't think that they push that belief on us. So if they are obsessed with it, I wouldn't know about it.
Mixed bag. Tell us your thoughts in the comments below.
Love it. That was pretty chill, and yeah, I think that I'm not really surprised by what those people said at all. I think there's so many different points of view, and it's just it's great to just have a dialogue with people about marriage, because I think in the media there is definitely maybe an agenda, or maybe this message that's getting put out into the world that marriage is miserable, or marriage doesn't work, or if you get married, it will ruin your life. Or the complete polar opposite, And, you know, when you get married, then you'll be complete. When you get married, you'll finally be totally 100% happy. You're not going to be in lack for the rest of your life. Those two extreme messages are very, very in the media, I feel. So having these chats about marriage is really, I think, quite important, because we want to know what marriage really is, don't we? And, you know, what's the purpose of it? It's definitely worth putting time in, reading about marriage. Read the books. Shout out to actually a video that I did a couple of months ago now. Books to read before you get married. You can read these books wherever you're at. You could be married, you could be engaged, dating, single. Even if you never want to get married, you can read those books and you'll get stuff from it. It's something to be so cherished and safeguarded and celebrated, and something that God created. Those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts, guys? Would love to know. Let me know down below, and I will see you in my next video. Mwah. Peace.